What's going on, y'all, man? This is your boy, Yah's Chosen One, man. We are going to continue in the great book of Jasher. We're in chapter 76. We're in verse 33. And we see right here that these nasty little Egyptians are taking our Israelite babies and slaying them. Their physicians are slaying. It's like a live abortion. They're like slaying our babies so they can take the blood from the baby. You know, these Africans always dealing with blood and stuff, man. But they take the blood so they can cure Pharaoh's leprosy. But Yah hearkened not to the physicians of the king of Egypt, and the plague went on increasing mightily. And Pharaoh was 10 years afflicted with that plague. Still the heart of Pharaoh was more hardened against the children of Israel. And at the end of 10 years, the Yah continued to afflict Pharaoh with destructive plagues. So he had leprosy, and now he's got destructive plagues. So when the Most High sent a plague upon you, AIDS, cancer, that's a plague, dude. And Yah smote him with a bad tumor, cancer, and sickness at the stomach. Who knows what that could be? Ulcers, whatever. And that plague turned to a severe boil. So when you get plagues and stuff like that, man, sometimes you get for just being reckless. Like there's some people who have had sex with people with HIV and never show up with having the never having the virus. It's kind of awkward, but I think everything works through Yah, man. He has a way of doing things, man. So if it's his will to send an evil upon you, then that's his will. At that time, the two ministers of Pharaoh came from the land of Goshen, where all the children of Israel were, and went to the house of Pharaoh and said to him, "We have seen the children of Israel slackening their work and negligent in their labor." And when Pharaoh heard the words of the ministers, his anger was kindled against the children of Israel exceedingly, for he was greatly grieved at his bodily pain. He was grieved at his bodily pain, and probably seeing how nasty he looked and how nasty he was too. And they think that the Israelites are mocking him and whatever. And he answered and said, "Now that the children of Israel know that I am ill, they turn and scoff at us. Now therefore harness my chariot for me, and I will betake myself to Goshen, and will see the scoff of the children of Israel with which they are deriding me." So his servants harnessed the chariot for him. And they took and made him ride upon a horse, for he was not able to ride of himself. And he took with him 10 horsemen and 10 footmen, and went to the children of Israel to Goshen. And when they had come to the border of Egypt, the king's horse passed into a narrow place, elevated in the hollow part of the vineyard, fenced on both sides, the low plain country being on the other side. And the horses ran rapidly in that place and pressed each other, and the horses pressed the king's horse. And the king's horse fell into the low plain whilst the king was riding upon it. And when he fell, the chariot turned over the king's face, and the horse lay upon the king. And the king cried out, for his place was very sore. Ah! Yeah, that's what his bitch ass get, man. You mess with Yah's children, man, that's what happens. And the flesh of the king was torn from him, and his bones were broken, and he could not ride. For this thing was from Yah to him. For Yah had heard the cries of his people, the children of Israel, in their afflictions. Sometimes when people say that Yah's in control, so sometimes when people say when Yah's in control, he's really in control, man. For the evil, for better or for worse, man. That's why I want to think accidents happen and stuff like that, man. Yah's in control of everything, man. They call it accidents, but there's innocent bystanders, but for some reason that happened. What Yah's plan is, we don't know. Joseph didn't know why he was in prison for all those years. Moshe didn't know why he was in prison for all those years. You know, we just think that we don't do anything, but there's a plan all the time by the Most High, man. It hurts us sometimes, and you know, we just can't, you know, see why things happen, man, until later on down the road. And the servants carried him upon their shoulders a little at a time, and they brought him back to Egypt. And the horsemen who were with him came also back to Egypt. And they placed him in his bed, and the king knew that his end was come to die. So Aparanith, the queen his wife, came and cried before the king, and the king wept a great weeping with her. And all the nobles and servants came on that day and saw the king in that affliction, and wept a great weeping with him. So they're crying for their king. You know. But I don't care. Look what he did to my people. And the princes of the king and all his counselors advised the king to cause one to reign in the stead in their land, whomsoever he should choose from his sons. And the king had 3 sons and 2 daughters, which Aparanith, the queen, his wife, had borne to him, beside the king's children of concubines. and these were their names: the firstborn Othri, the second Adikam. Sounds familiar, Star Wars. Or it's Anakin, but it's Adikam. And the third Morion. And their sisters, the name of the elder Bethea, and the other Akuzi. And Othri, the firstborn, the king, was an idiot, precipitate and hurried in his words. Just stupid. But Adikam was a cunning and wise man, and knowing in all the wisdom of Egypt, but of unseemly aspect, thick in flesh, and very short in stature. His height was 1 cubit, so he was what we would call it a dwarf, midget, whatever you want to call it, be politically correct, but he was a midget, he was a dwarf. And when the king saw Adikam his son intelligent and wise in all things, the king resolved that he should be king in his stead after his death. And he took for him a wife, Geduda, daughter of Abilot, and he was 10 years old. And she bare unto him 4 sons. Now you see this? He bare unto him 4 sons. She was 10 years old, so they was having sex with girls. There was no age of consent. When little girls started having their periods, they were considered women. And this girl was, 10 years old? And she bare unto him 4 sons. So these little girls, women, started really, really early back then, man. You know, it was no age of consent. It was like when you started having periods, you considered a woman. And this disorder. And he afterward went and took 3 wives and begat 8 sons and 3 daughters. And the disorder greatly prevailed over the king, and his flesh stank like the flesh of a carcass cast upon the field in summertime. That's stinking. Imagine this doggone Pharaoh inside of a palace, and he just got it stinking. You try to put all the frankincense and myrrh and all these perfumes over this little nasty bastard, and it still stank. It's like a car got like flies, man. Like the flesh of a carcass cast upon the field in summertime during the heat of the sun. And when the king saw that his sickness had greatly strengthened itself over him, he ordered his son Adikam to be brought to him, and they made him king over the land in his place. And at the end of 3 years, the king died in shame, disgrace, and disgust. And his servants carried him and buried him in the sepulchre of the kings of Egypt in Zoan Mizraim. But they embalmed him not as was usual with kings, for his flesh was putrid, and they could not approach to embalm him on account of the stench. So they buried him in haste. They just buried his ass, put some lime over him, got his nasty ass out of there. For this evil was from Yah. There we go. Who brought the evil upon him? It was Yah. Yeah, Yah is good. Got it. Yah is love. But how do you think evil came about? You think you want to give the devil that much credit that he created evil? Huh? That he could create something that Yah couldn't create? You don't think Yah doesn't know evil? That he couldn't create evil? Huh? You want to give the devil that much credit? You don't think Yah knew about evil? In order to be evil, he had to create the evil. He has to know what the evil is. See, in life is a pilgrimage, man. Let me go ahead and finish this story here. For this evil was brought from Yah to him, for Yah had requited him evil for the evil which in his days he had done to Israel. And that was because what he had did to Israel, man. And he died with terror and with shame, and his son Anakim reigned in his place. So when evil comes upon a person, man, when something happens to you, it's for a reason. Accidents happen. Everything in life happens for a reason. Yah has a plan for something. Even your ankle sprain, if you're playing football, ankle sprain, you have to be out for something. Why are you out for those days? It happens. Take a break, heal, read a book. Think about things in your life. Slow down. Life is more than a sport. Think about some things sometimes, man. Just think about your life. Think of who's in control of your life. Make sure that Yah's in control. Because surely all the things that you gather in life, they can be taken away in an instant. Y'all can have that taken away in an instant. No problem. So I just want you to think about that. And see that this Pharaoh had what was coming to him. And this evil was brought upon him by Yah. Alright. Love you guys, man. I'll check you guys out on the next one. Shalom.